Furious 1, apparently.
All right, we are live. I'm gonna go ahead and just start streaming it.
The best Fast and
Hey,
Furious
the Dolphins
movie.
won. All right.
Dude. Oh, I hate that we weren't live for that. I really do hate we weren't live.
That was
for
an
that.
amazing moment where it's like my favorite Fast and Furious movie is the one where he's trying to learn how to drift his car and he's the white guy amongst and it looks the Japanese drivers and it's like that's Tokyo Drift. I'm like, yeah, that was the best Fast and Furious.
You know you're trying to explain Fast and Furious to. We're like, dude, we've all seen. He's like, no, Vin Diesel wasn't a main character in that movie. I'm like,
I don't remember seeing him at
what
all.
What movie did you watch?
A better racing movie.
No, I didn't think the first few Fast and Furious were bad. But anyway.
My first Fast and Furious movie was
apparently.
bad.
I've never seen Tokyo Drift. So.
You should. It's a better racing movie. It's about racing. The drifting's awesome.
Oh, God. How's it going, Blood? How you feeling?
Well, at least that one did have a Mustang, so I did appreciate that one in it.
Yeah.
It was like a 68 Mustang, I believe.
It's just like my favorite Star Wars movie that's came out recently. Man, you know that one with Picard and Spock?
All right.
There's a DC movie, the one in Wakanda.
Welcome to Dicejunkies. I'm Xenodamus. I'm here with Q. And on Skype,
We have Bloodaxe.
let's get started.
Let me make a correction. The first one in Wakanda.
All right.
Wakanda Forever. Too bad they never made a sequel.
Oh, goodness.
It's up there with Promethean Ores, man. We deny its existence.
Sort of like the last D&D was 3.5.
I know, man. I can't wait till they... Oh, no. They made a 4th edition. It didn't really hit, but I'm still waiting for the next D&D, man. I mean, I think they have some good ideas in 4th edition, and one day they're going to make another D&D once Jason Tondro is tossed in a fire.
The last good D&D was Pathfinder 1st edition.
Man, that was a really good D&D sequel. Man, hope one day they make a second version of that.
Yeah.
Everybody's removing the word race. It's a heritage or ancestry now.
Well, speaking of Wizards of the Coast and D&D, Wizards of the Coast designer who authored Dungeons & Dragons,
Jason Tondro,
the making of original D&D, writes off fans unhappy with book insulting of games creators. So basically, he wrote the making of the original D&D, and in it, he basically just trashes Gary Gygax.
Oh, God, aggressively so. He also declares that luckily they're getting a new, more diverse fan base, so they're getting rid of all those people that like D&D.
I mean, what is supposed to be basically a fan...
Give us a quote.
Get there. What's supposed to be a fan documentary book
About the original D&D?
About the original D&D should probably be written by somebody who actually cares about the original D&D and doesn't want to shit all over it. I mean, that's my opinion. But
I mean, dude, it shouldn't be a hit piece. And I mean, this is so aggressive. If any of you haven't read it, you can go read it for yourselves, but it's a hit piece. And why would you allow somebody to put a hit piece against something they're covering the making of that works for you? Where they basically go, this game's crap, it's been crap. We're trying to fix it, but it's crap, and everybody who made it's crap. Especially because, I'm going to say it, especially because one of the most common traits of the people that get easily offended by this is their unwillingness to forgive. Meaning, if you say your game is created by and was made by, like, misogynist racists, most of the crowd that would have a problem with that are going to not play your game. Mm-hmm. But most of the people who don't agree with you are going to stop playing your game. So who are you trying to get to buy your game? After all, If I were to genuinely believe that this was just a KKK rally game, I wouldn't play it. I don't care how much you try to fix it. I could go play a game that is not a KKK rally. I'd just play something else. I wouldn't support any of that. Even I would be like, man, if it had that bad a history, I would be very reserved. So what is the point? Like, what is the point other than you want to lose Hasbro more money? And from what I understand, Wizards of the Coast is bombing out. Like, Hasbro considers them a crap show. They're considering selling them. They've been putting Magic the Gathering people to staff it because they're losing almost all their staff. So while this, like, ass monkey's talking, he's literally burning the house down he's sitting in, and he's a failure. And watching these failures, and I don't mean this in a mean way, I mean a failure as in managing this to make it successful. You are burning the house you're in down and then going, we're making it better. And I'm like, no, you're burning the house you're in down.
So basically here, I mean, he says, early in the book's development, the marketing team asked me what sort of critiques we should expect and prepare for. And I and the editors agreed the problem was going to be the progressives and people from underrepresented groups who justly took offense at language of the original D&D.
You mean people who aren't playing your game?
So
because they've taken offense and don't like it?
And then it's like, so basically they said, well, we'll make sure that they don't complain about it. And those other people, it's obvious now that I look back on it, but I just don't take those critics seriously even now. I consider those people not worth listening to. So I didn't anticipate their outrage. So, I mean, it's just like, okay, you...
Also, apparently, you're grognards.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you take in this the people who aren't the big fans of the franchise, or aren't the majority of the fans of the franchise, and you say, for the majority of the fans, I don't really care. Fuck them.
Yeah, we were worried about progressives and underrepresented groups. And I'm like, the biggest thing about underrepresented groups is they're underrepresented because there's not a lot of them.
Yeah.
Just being real. That's what's usually the case. It's like they're
mention,
a small... That's why they're underrepresented. Now, I'm not saying that's right. That's unfortunate. But it is also, from a business perspective, your smallest potential customer base.
Well, not to mention, I mean, you're talking about the creation of something. And then you misrepresent it. And I mean, and that's why most of the fans, the actual fans, they're not mad because you said, oh, well, I think, he could have went a different direction here, or he could have,
they're declaring
he could have included more women because, he probably could have included more women. But guess what? He was a dude that didn't probably have a lot of access to a lot of women to help him write this game.
Let's be honest, okay? Because I was an OG D&D player. Girls thought it was poison. It was girl repellent. So guess what? There weren't damn girls playing back then. So it's like, you know how I know? Because we wish they would have played with us. We were looking for them. So yeah, way back when you came up with this weird garage game about imaginary dragons where you roll dice and pretend to be a wizard, of course, there wasn't. No, they thought you were crazy. Dude, we grew up being told we were going to hell. It was considered more satanic than rock and roll. People were crazy paranoid that everyone who played this game was insane. They made a movie that had what's-his-name in it that literally was about how insane D&D players are.
Talking like about Maze the Monsters with Tom Hanks.
Yes, Tom Hanks, him. So it's like you're literally implying 50-year later, like political views to something that you don't know a damn thing about. This motherfucker doesn't know shit about what it was like playing this game back then.
I mean, the other thing is
if
once
he thinks that women wanted to sit down with you, nobody wanted to play it.
Here's another thing. He talks about words that are casually hurtful to anybody with a physical or mental disability or who happen to be old, fat, non-conventionally attractive. You know who was fat, not
physical disability. Now, I had people with physical disabilities playing. They loved getting to pretend to be a badass warrior. That was fun. You want to know who usually played Muscle Boy Barbarian the most? The kid in the wheelchair with the crutches.
I mean, the other thing that gets me too is it's like slavery appears in the original D&D not as a human tragedy that devastated generations over, but as a simple commercial transaction. There was a rule for slavery. You want to know why they didn't go and go stick a label to it in the book? Because we all know slavery is bad, and it wasn't pretty in the books.
I never remember it being existing outside of nothing but literally evil groups.
Yeah.
They did make it a tragedy. You know who did slavery?
But no, in the rule books. In the rule books, it was but a simple, it was in the list of commercial transactions, and that's probably what he's referencing. Now, yes.
But the cultures that did it were evil.
If you go into the lore and the stories that included that, but as a rule set, yes, we put it as a commercial transaction. Why? Well, because it exists and and we're putting it in there. No, we all know it's bad.
A commercial transaction is just literally they gave their price.
Yes.
Well, guess what? Slavery is real. It did happen. And guess what? You look up the prices they made back then. It's like, and you know what's funny? It's evil. Dude, in Forgotten Realms, the Red Wizards were hated almost exclusively just because of their practice of slavery. They were hated around the effing world. So they literally said, nearly the entire world is not okay with this. And the guys who are evil as hell. And recognizably so.
I mean, you're looking at a time
they even made them skinheads.
Yeah.
They literally were bald-headed with tattoos. They made the Red Wizards.
But I mean, you're looking at a time where I don't think we saw you had to put labels on everything. There was no...
People had common sense.
Yeah. There was no label warning people that there was... Because everybody came in going, yeah, we know slavery's dumb. It sucks, you know?
Yeah. Like Flynn said, dude, my gaming group was me and Flynn. God, we were all black. We killed so many slavers. Dude, that was like our most common action. And by the way, we killed them nasty. We were coming with new ways to kill them.
I mean, my gaming group was mostly white. Guess what? We killed so many slavers.
The campaign ended with us outlawing slavery for most of the world. If we got to level 20, slavery was out. It's like, well, we're epic level now.
Yeah.
You better be epic level because no more slaves are allowed.
Actually, what's funny, there was one campaign where you were playing a psionicist, and I was a goblin slave, and you bought me to free. So.
I know. I literally said, "Oh, it's a blue goblin. Bought him." So what do you want me to do? I go like, "I'm setting you free, man." It's messed up. You were down here. By the way, I bought him from the Drow, a really evil race. By the way,
yes,
but also apparently black people.
Yeah. We had a player once,
and we're not going to talk about how historically accurate that is because we're really starting to fight.
I mean, we had a player once that tried to be edgy. He was an evil character, and he tried to join our group, and he had slaves. And you know what? We killed him.
We've killed so many evil players. Oh, you want to buy? Dude, so many characters have died in our game because they go, "I'm going to buy a slave." And the paladin just looks at him and waits. Walks up, shake.
Yeah,
looks like the DM and goes, "Do I lose my paladin powers?" And the DM goes, "Your god gives you a thumbs up."
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Evil characters could play in good groups, but once you bought a slave, then everybody knew, and you were no longer in that group.
To tell you how serious that the concept was, in our games, the most common house rule was that mind control was evil. Because it's a form of enslavement. We looked at mind control of intelligent creatures as an evil act. Bloodaxe can be our witness. It was considered, you notice you never saw it and only evil characters did it. It was literally even that was viewed with that. Because guess what? We had enough sense they didn't have to tell us. Because we were able to go, I don't want anybody to control my character. Well then, that probably means it's a bad thing to do. We weren't idiots. And that's why it's so ridiculous that they can't
Well,
conceit
because
of it.
once again, you can't spell everything out in a rule book. I mean, the rule book would be this thick if you did. But come on, we all know we're American. We're all about freedom. I mean, as soon
in
as
American culture, slavery is considered a bad thing. Yeah. Now, there's a lot of cultures around the world, so I can't blame them for not in the book saying, we hold this firm stance because you're selling your book. I'm going to be honest. You're selling your book.
But
Again,
anyway.
it's where business and morals, you got to kind of go, well, do I want to sell to everybody or not? But anyway, the point was just to point out that he didn't even after he got in trouble
and
for
the culture of appropriation, that wasn't even a thing back then. Like, we didn't even...
That's a new concept.
Yeah.
Back then, it was actually considered open-minded to indulge in other cultures.
Yeah.
If you actually bothered, it was considered to be, you were closed-minded.
Well,
if you
that,
went,
and it's
I
almost-
don't know about what them Mexicans are doing or what them Native Americans, but when you actually learned and went and spent time with them and dressed and walked among them, that was melting pot. That was the melting pot. Let me say this real quick. I told my gaming group last night that the biggest sad thing to me is that we have so much more communication now. We're so interconnected. What should have happened to advance human society should have been the melting pot effect as we started to blend everything together into one cohesive culture. Instead, everybody isolated themselves and became more segregated as if they went, oh, well, I only have to talk to people that think like me. And it's like the opposite of what should have happened. And it's sad.
And you're on point, Flynn. I'm not going to read that out loud on our video because of certain words in there. Be sure to join our chat room.
But he's basically talking about the things in our game that were like very adamantly. I'm not going to say them.
I know.
That we were adamantly against. But we hunted down predators.
But
We'll
I
say
mean,
that word
find
aggressively.
a fantasy that you can't read culture appropriation into. By the way, it's impossible. You can read culture appropriation into anything, and that's why that one also is just so dumb.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I guess we can only eat hamburgers.
So your fans come out. The fans, the people who have put money into this game for years, not liking things you're doing with the game system.
Long-term customers, if they're fan of the original D&D, they probably bought every edition like we have.
And you wonder why you're losing money.
And why they're about to get sold.
Yeah.
Why Hasbro don't even want you anymore.
And we'll get more into stupidity against fans later on in the show. But for now, let's talk about more Ubisoft failure.
We're just documenting it, man. This is a documentary of the fails of Ubisoft. The COD killer, X-Defiant. This is going to beat Call of... Oh, it's dead.
Yeah. X-Defiant officially shutting down as Ubisoft announces FPS end date. So X-Defiant, it's one game. I tried to look at X-Defiant stuff. I just couldn't. It made no sense to me. Like, I really wish they would.
Flynn, it is Disney and Star Wars we're getting into later. In the chat, he said, not listening to fans? Like, he called it.
Yeah. I mean, dude, Ghost Recon is probably...
He's mad.
Ubisoft's best FPS venture, and I wish they would focus on making more and better Ghost Recon stuff.
Are you sure with what they're doing you want them to touch Ghost Recon?
I mean, Ghost Recon has gone downhill for a while, but
I think they can make it worse. I believe in them.
Yeah, I mean, the last Ghost Recon I played, I actually enjoyed. A lot of people hated it because they added some RPG elements and stuff into it, and a lot of people didn't care for that. But I thought it was pretty good, actually. But yeah, no, man, I don't know, man. You don't need to be the next COD killer. Let COD be COD. Do your thing. Ghost Recon is different than COD. It's their game. It's their game that they were known for a really long time. Yeah.
Well, there's also more controversy because apparently they got asked if they were going to shut down, and they said no, and then people bought products, and they're only refunding people that bought products like a month or so ago instead of back to when they declared they wouldn't. But the main thing is this. The joke I want to tell to see if I can get a smile on the Bloodaxe is that literally X-Defiant was supposed to be the COD killer. COD comes out, X-Defiant goes under. So literally, COD killed the COD killer. So I just saw like the COD character walk up and go, blam, walk off. Because I mean, pretty much COD 6 came out and X Defiance is shutting down. That's the most anti-COD killer you can be.
So June 3rd is the official cutoff date of the servers. They do say that they will still release Season 3 content in the near future, and I guess you'll get to play that until June 3rd, in which they will shut the servers down.
But we'll probably, when we get official word on it, be covering one more on this with the refund thing, because that's bouncing back and forth. Because that is bad that they told people we're not going to shut down. Like we're asked by the customers, then they are shutting down later, but they're not going to and a lot of people say, we want to be refunded from when you made this announcement that you weren't shutting down. I agree. If you tell me in March, we're absolutely not about to shut the game down, and I bought something in March or April, I'm going to be pissed if you didn't turn around and you're shutting down and you're telling me we're not going to refund you back to when we told you we weren't going to do this. I'm like, you shouldn't have made the announcement. You should have just shut up and said nothing, because at least then I'm responsible. But if I made a purchase after you gave me assurances, I made those purchase under false information.
Yeah,
I was told,
no, I agree.
I'm gonna get to play this for a foreseeable future, and you were wrong. And you literally, because it'd be different if they just said it, but they said it was actually put out. So but it's still being discussed. But we'll come back to it. They'll confirm it at some point. But I really want to know. I'm going to come back to this topic if they confirm more of the dates and stuff, and I can get you the announcement. But if they announced we're not canceling this game, and then they did, then from that announcement date, anybody that purchased after that was purchased in bad faith. You know what I'm saying? Like, they purchased and you gave them bad info. You should refund their money. Because you don't know. They may have been like, okay, I want to get 2 years out of this. I'll get 3 years out of this. But instead, they only got a few months or even less than a year. And to me, yeah, I believe that if I bought something from you, I should get at least a year of play. I should. I believe that I should get at least a minimum of a year. If you cancel my game in less than a year, I do want my money back if it's a live service. You know, especially for a live service game, I believe you owe your customers a year. And if you can at least give them a year, then you should give them their money back. What do you think, Bloodaxe? Is a year good enough?
Actually, I play games usually longer than a year.
But for having to give you a full refund.
But I mean, if you're going to shut down the servers and it's a live service game, then I can definitely get on board with that. The problem is they may not have known back in March they were shutting down. So and that's kind of the hard thing to prove, is whether or not they misled their customer base or not.
Well, I mean, May was when they released, so obviously in March they didn't know they were shutting down.
Oh yeah, no, it isn't that long a range. Like this is a case of, a few months ago they said that, and they're shutting down a few months later. Well, I mean, technically they're shutting down next year, but they announced they're shutting down a few months later.
I mean,
well, and that gives them a year's worth of play from May to June. But I definitely, I mean, the spirit of what you're saying is absolutely spot on. There's so many games that I wish I could go back and play, like Chrome Hounds when it came on the 360. It's probably the best mecha game that was multiplayer since Mech Assault. And we haven't seen anything quite remotely like it. And I'd love to go back and be able to play some old mecha games, and I can't because all the servers are shut down. So I get it. But when it comes to you trying to compete and with another core shooting game, you're not doing a very good job if you're shutting down in less than a year from giving the fan base a vote of confidence that we're going to compete with Call of Duty. You definitely failed on your mission. And that studio is probably going to have a hard time being able to sell their next game to fans coming up because of these type of business practices right here.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, Ubisoft is having trouble selling games anyway.
It's another Ubisoft franchise that's down the drain, and I mean, it's literally followed up with, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, Ubisoft shareholders in talks over possible buyout terms, source says. Not surprising here. I don't know who they're going to sell to, though. I mean, I'll be honest.
They said 10 cents undecided. Now, you know you're doing bad when 10 cent is debating whether to buy you out. They're usually pretty aggressive. That's interesting if 10 cent's going, I don't know, man. This is pretty shot in the foot.
Maybe, I mean, you would, at this point, I don't think, we know Microsoft can't buy them because Microsoft gave them the distribution rights to their online stuff back to appease the UK back when they did their previous purchase.
Microsoft does not need to buy another.
So if Microsoft bought Ubisoft, they'd have all their rights back that they gave away, which would be sort of funny. But
Microsoft does not need to buy any more woke companies. I mean, they're already pushing that into the grave.
And then you can't have Sony have them because then you have Sony who has rights to distribute Microsoft and how Microsoft's online stuff gets distributed. So,
yeah.
I
mean, if Sony bought it, I'd at least be happy that they're going to lose all that money on it.
Yeah.
Dude, it's dead in the water, and Sony's not going to clean up the problem with Ubisoft. We know they're not. They're down with that.
So if Ubisoft gets sold, then what happens to the cloud gaming rights that Microsoft gave them?
I don't know. I mean, that is definitely a question.
I imagine they'd have to turn those over because they were given to Ubisoft, and Ubisoft comes under different ownership. That creates a conflict. And if they were smart, they have that clause in there. We don't know what was in the clause.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. Microsoft lawyers should have had a if you are sold to a competitor, then this reneges. If they're not stupid. But then again, we're going to cover later how stupid Microsoft is. So I don't know. I would have said we'll give the rights to Ubisoft as long as Ubisoft doesn't come under the ownership of one of our rival companies. That seems like a normal clause to have for something like that, right? Doesn't that seem like a sensible clause to be like, well, unless you literally sell your company to like Sony, our direct competitor. But like I said, we're going to cover them being really stupid later.
Yeah, because even most of my contracts that I write at work have clauses regarding acquisitions and things like that. But I mean, it's just more dirt on the grave of Ubisoft between Skull and Bones and Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows. I mean, they're floundering at this point.
Don't forget the game after Assassin's Creed Shadows, Assassin's Creed Hex, where they decided it was Agatha all along.
Yeah.
They're going lesbian witches, and you're like...
Yeah, I mean, this is a whole mess with the Guillemot family having like 20% voting rights. Tencent has like 10% voting rights. And then, there's a lot of weirdness going on with the whole Ubisoft thing.
Just the idea of being sold jumped to share 16%. That's how much the company needs to be sold, is that it gains value with just the hope that they're going to stop being the people that are running it. When you can walk up and say, I'm thinking about retiring, and the stock of your company goes up, you need to wonder about your leadership skills. I'm like, God dang.
I mean, I got to say, though, man, that is painful when you look at Ubisoft's list of games. At their highest were they have some big hitters. I mean, they have the Far Cry. They have these Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, Rainbow Six, Splinter Cell.
And of course, Assassin's Creed, the big ones,
Yeah, the Assassin's Creed's Rayman was a big franchise for a while.
I mean, it's a shame that such a big company, but I mean, dude, it's just back-to-back bad calls.
Yeah.
And what's worse, it's the same bad call. That's what got me, is that I understand if you were making different ball drops, but we just mentioned 2 games in a row that are facing the same problem of rejection, which is you're aiming at a very specific demographic who have not managed to successfully come out for any game. Even probably one of the most modern audience games that come out in a long time, Baldur's Gate 3, also is just a really good game. It didn't succeed because the modern artists came out. It succeeded because it drew in not the modern audience as well. And look at what it had to be. It had to be like the best RPG almost anyone's ever seen just to pull that off. How much do you have to be a modern audience style game and succeed? You have to be almost the greatest RPG. I've heard people call it that, and from what I've seen, it really does have that level of immersion and choice. Just because I'm not playing it doesn't mean I do not glaze Baldur's Gate 3 and say, hey, man, the game's freaking incredible. So you almost have to be one of the best. We did our best on this games in the world to have a lot of other stuff in it and still make it. Mm-hmm. And Ubisoft ain't been there for a long time. You have to have some big balls to think you're making Baldur's Gate 3 for Assassin's Creed. Wow. That's some ego.
Well, I mean, speaking of that, and
Baldur's Gate 3 for Obsidian
is so Obsidian, we've talked about Avowed. I mean, there's been a lot going on with Avowed this week, and the creator
last week.
I think that's all been this week. Well, I mean, the craziness with Avowed has all been this.
It's been the past couple of weeks.
Okay. The pronouns things that first popped up a couple of weeks ago.
That's right.
No, now Matt started talking mad crap in the last week.
And then somebody...
in the next week, he's going to keep going.
And then somebody leaked the Obsidian Slack messages.
Smash GT,
And, oh, shit.
This is the worst work environment I've ever seen. It is so unprofessional.
The Slack is it's
we
rough.
consider all day going on.
Basically strongly anti
Elon Musk.
anti-right. So I mean, first of all, your entire Slack and business is basically anti half of the country.
Aggressively so. And
aggressively.
Just happy to be turning people off. Just ecstatic that people hate what they're doing. Also, somebody pointed out, not a single person lacking pronouns in that whole thing. Every person in that Slack has pronouns. And I'm just saying that's a lot. Yeah. That is odd that you have a 100% pronoun rate. So there's not, because you know what that tells me? That means there's not anybody on your team that's not like far left. That's what that says. That means that you've managed to nail your team down to where, except for this whistleblower, I guess, there's just nobody of a different opinion on your team allowed. Nobody that doesn't want to put pronouns is even present.
Yeah, so basically,
I
mean, basically, you're having to play their game if you want to stay.
Yeah, something's up because I've never worked anywhere where everybody was of the same mind. That, in fact, is a very non-inclusive place. If everybody's got these
and I mean, we talked last week about the things Matt had been doing that were obviously not inclusive. So I mean, it doesn't really surprise me. This just is sort of adding a little bit of concrete to the leaks and the rumors that the behavior of Obsidian is one that is not not fair. It is not a fair working environment. It is not an even working environment. You have to believe certain ways or you're not part of that company. And, once again, political views should not dictate your work, your quality of work.
This is a whole long section of Slack where they are ecstatic about people not liking the pronouns. They insult Elon Musk in a very personal way that feels a bit excessive. I'm just like, dude, your Slack should not just be insulting one guy like crazy. That's super unprofessional. Because, I mean, any HR would even go, this language is inappropriate because somebody may feel differently about the individual they're insulting in you, so your language is inappropriate. And Matt Hansen is a supervisor. He's over a teams. He's like the top guy in his area. So this is a person in a supervisory role behaving extraordinarily unprofessional and creating a very hostile work environment, period. And, I mean, their opinions, they literally talk about what they call them. They call them snowflakes. They call them right-wing snowflakes. That is expressing a political view and being very derogatory about it. You should not be discussing politics in your work Slack. You should not be attacking a political group in your work Slack. Like, I mean, you see Bloodaxe's face. I told you Bloodaxe is the supervisor of strictness. He taught me a lot. I mean, I was well educated from my mom. She used human resources. She taught me a lot about it, but like Bloodaxe don't play. He put me in my place quickly when I worked with him. Like, he is very strict. You saw the disapproval. He had the like, I'm going to write you up look while I'm saying this now when he's hearing what they're doing. This here should have been an HR catastrophe. You know, oh, I'll take that back. Jay Turner does not have pronouns. He's probably fired now. But
he's probably the leaker.
Providence, shut up. He mentioned Grubs, be quiet. But yeah. Even what he said is the most mild out of anything anybody said, which is itself indicative. So I take that back. There is somebody with no pronouns in there at the moment. Probably won't be working there much longer. But, and here's the thing that's also indicative of this before I turn it over to Bloodaxe, is, because I love hearing his opinions on professionalism. He's very well spoken on that. This is the third leak. Even Smash JT said, this is like the third person from Obsidian, different person, who's approached me. So he's like, clearly people are sick of this crap because he's getting like multiple people leaking stuff to him. And these are the three he was able to confirm. So he's implying he's getting a lot of Obsidian people that are leaking and going, dude, this is a hot effing mess. You have no idea. How bad are you when you have like 3 whistleblowers in like a week? That's a bad work environment when you've got that many people turning on you. All right, Bloodaxe.
So just so everyone's aware, when it comes to Dicejunkies, the people that I work with know I have a social media channel. They don't know the name. They don't know the format on YouTube or Twitch or whatever. They don't know the day or time, because the way that I conduct myself at work is a completely different way than I behave outside of work. Because as Quinn was saying, Quinn was acting up, and I said, we don't do that here. And he thought I was fucking with him. I was like, no, we don't behave that way here. I'm not your friend. I'm your boss. And he was like, oh, shit, you're serious? I'm like, yeah, I'm serious. Because there's a way that you conduct yourself professionally in business, but outside of work, you know, I'll joke with my friends and stuff, but, you know, in anything outside of people that I feel comfortable with, I'm business as usual, which is why I try to keep my mouth shut even on Dicejunkies, because there's certain things that I believe that, you know, a lot of people will disagree with, and even amongst the three of us, we all kind of lean 3 different ways politically. So that's why we try to keep politics out of it. But that doesn't mean that we all can't come together, discuss, and have a good time, and then, you know, privately agree to disagree. But you do that in private. You don't do that publicly, especially in a public forum of a team chat or a Slack channel, because of situations exactly like this. When I have to have conversations with people, there's a lot of times I won't put it in writing because that can be photographed and shared. So I don't do any of that, because if I have to call and get a reference, I'm not going to email. And if you ask me for a reference, you call me. I'm not going to email you back, because there's certain things that I may share that I don't want in writing. And so there's a way to have these discussions, but not in a format that's going to be permanent like this. That's why on Twitter or email or whatever, I'm very deliberate in what I say and how I say it, because it will come back and bite you in the butt. How many times have people said something 20 years ago, and then someone finds a tweet when they were in a completely different mindset, and now they're getting canceled because of it?
And who they were 20 years ago?
My thing is, I have a lot of friends that I know from my work that I work with, and dude, we use Teams, and I either talk about job stuff on Teams or job adjacent stuff. Outside of that, I'll text you, I'll call you, we'll meet up after work. I mean, because I can't, like, if this conversation was going where I work, it would not fly. Like, it would be shut down quick, you know?
Oh, exactly. And I've had to have conversations with people, hey, we shouldn't be discussing things at work.
Yeah.
And most people are like, okay, I got you, and they stop. But if I were to foster it like Matt is, oh my gosh, I mean, it would be an absolute shit
And I'll
show,
say-
and I wouldn't be employed very long.
If the conversation was the exact opposite of what they're saying, it would get shut down. Like, it's just
It's not about what they're saying.
it's not about what.
It's the topic in general.
Yeah.
Well, like,
Right.
let me put it like this. This, though, does support the claim that Microsoft up top is supporting this, because that's an HR nightmare. That is an HR night. Like, in any appropriate company, that is somebody could really go to HR and get all of the other people in trouble. Like, you want to talk about, like, but clearly that's not an option. If they've got to leak it to Smash JT, it is because HR is going to fire you, not the people that are being appropriate. And the best way to probably put a nail in this one, this topic, to roll the next one is this. We're more professional on Dicejunkies, and we're for entertainment, old dudes talking crap channel, man. And we don't go. We've had a couple of we get to talk, and even then we pull back and go like, all right, we're gonna.
Yeah.
They just went flip mode,
and
I mean, crazy.
Flynn has a good point in the chat that most of these companies are having money management issues, not because of the fan bases or the consumers, but because they're being managed poorly, and the games that are being designed are more towards getting critical reviews as opposed to getting gamers to want to play their content.
Yeah, I mean, he says these are not well-run companies, and I agree. I mean, any company that allows that in their Slack is not a well-run company.
But dude, like,
And now we know why Elon Musk came in and axed 80% of the Twitter staff, and they're running just fine. Because there's a lot of these. If you have enough time to run your mouth like this at work, you don't have enough work to do.
I mean, the topic we tossed out, because we just talked about it enough with Raver News, was about Veilguard still running around. And the top people say, well, we got really good critical reviews. Game did not. The game's getting panned. The sales weren't good. And they're paying people to waste their damn money. And this is a perfect example. These people need to be working. That Slack was a lot of time goofing off on a game that hasn't been released yet and probably could use a couple of... I'm going to tell you something. Avowed's graphics look like crap. It does not look like a 2024, especially now that I got my new PC set up. I'm like, dude, compared to some of the games I played, they were only 30 and 40 bucks. The game doesn't look good.
Well,
It's like Kingdom Come 2. Oh, man. Kingdom Deliverance 2 looks way better. It's just not a good-looking game, man.
I'll tell you what, if we may all want to be more like Bloodaxe and hide some of our stuff we do outside of work now as well, because apparently at Riot Games, creators could be banned for off-platform content.
Oh, yeah, I saw this.
So Riot has recently changed their terms and service to include that if you do something that isn't related to Riot Games...
It supposedly
they don't
has
like.
to include some of their game material related, but it doesn't have to be on platform, meaning they can go to your Twitter or your Instagram or some other place and go, wait, did he say something and he mentioned our game at the same time, or is he talking to somebody that played one of our games? We're going to ban your account, your whole account, which is, to me, I didn't even give you permission to go look at all my stuff. Like, I'm a private person. And I'd be pissed to be like, why the F are you on my Twitter? Like, why is Riot Games on my Twitter deciding if what I'm saying is appropriate? I'm sorry. Go ahead. That still.
I mean, from what they said, admittedly, this does sound like Riot may be looking to ban a creator from League of Legends if they get a DUI charge or something similar. But this is far from the truth. Instead, the idea, is to tackle any issues that pop up in streams and such. If a creator uses hate speech or poor content but avoids Riot's justice by not specifically doing so in-game, Riot elaborates, if a creator uses hateful slurs about an opposing player or teammate on their stream but not in-game over chat or voice comms, we can still issue a penalty if that behavior occurred in-game. So basically, if I'm playing a multiplayer game on Riot's system. I'm not in their group chat, because they already have where they can ban you for saying certain words and stuff in their group chat. But I'm talking to somebody on a live stream while I'm playing, and I start bad-mouthing the other players.
The problem is that the
They could ban
wording
me
is
for
more
that.
broad than that, from what I understand.
Well, that's why people say, admittedly, this sounds like.
Because they're saying what they're going to do with it, but they ain't wording it that way.
But they're saying it's more. But yeah, the whole thing is we know how take an inch. Also, we've heard of several companies already banning people for who they follow or what they post on YouTube that isn't even related to the content. So it's hard for me to believe that they wouldn't do that.
Because they said they're trying to protect players, but so did Sony, and they're lying bastards. Because we already said, well, what happens if I critique a game? Not on there. What if I go to YouTube and make a video and I decide League of Legends 5 sucks? Could I get banned for that? It does include their content. They could ban me. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is the issue. We've seen on Sony, we covered it last weekend, how they don't tell you why they banned you half the time. There's almost no way to appeal the ban. So who's to say you even did what they accused you of? The problem is that by them being off platform, this gives them a blanket ability to say, we banned you because of off-platform activity, and that's all they say. And now you're banned. And it might have just been you gave them a 5 out of 10. You have no ability to contest this. These policies give you no defense against the company taking away everything you paid for. And the more they're able to go, well, because the thing is, in-game, you can at least go, hey, man, I know I didn't say anything in-game. I don't even have a mic. Well, now they can go, well, no, you said it somewhere else. They may not even tell you where they did it, because Sony didn't. We know for a fact Sony won't tell you why they banned
you said the update applies very specifically only to content where Riot games are the background of the content produced. So that could be, I'm talking about a Riot game, have it going in the background.
I don't think they mean just the background. I think like background is in it's the source or related to it.
Well, I mean, what about right now? We're talking about Riot's game right now. What if they don't like what we're saying?
Yeah. What if we're considered, or they don't like what we said earlier, but later on Riot popped up and they're like, well, we're judging the whole video, and we don't like what you said about Matt Fubbernuck, earlier.
Well, if that's the case, don't buy 2XKO because they're going to kick you off that platform.
I've never played a Riot game in my life. They're no threat to me. Like, I don't play Riot games at all, dude.
Well, we were talking last week about new fighting games, and it's a new fighting game that's coming out by Riot in next year called 2XKO.
Well, they can keep that.
I didn't know anything about it until I just saw this on their wiki page. But I mean, this happens so much with what was it? YouTube banning people for things they say on Twitch and crazy crap like that.
Yes.
I get it if you're on their platform and you say something that violates their code of conduct, but when it's off the platform and has no effect on you, I mean, I don't know. I guess each state's laws are different, but I just don't see the business strategy of getting rid of people that would use your service by getting rid of them. It just seems like you're destined for failure at that point.
Look, we just found out why. Dude, Riot Games is one of those companies that faced a bunch of allegations and lawsuits for toxic workplace when we went to their wiki, including gender discrimination and sexual harassment and using forced arbitration in response to allegations. This is them. This is the fake. They don't even care. They're a company full of a-holes. This is literally what we saw. It's just like Ubisoft got hit with this. This is we're pretending to be good guys now, when in reality, they're the problem. But they're attacking the players. We've seen this, remember? Companies would get allegations, and their solution was to go, we're going to make all the WoW players sign a new, be nice document. And it's like, the WoW players aren't abusing your employees. You are.
No, that's your frat boy parties that you're having at work is called.
And the Cosby couch. So yes, isn't that just ironic? The hypocrisy that you find out this is a company that's been sued and used forced arbitration. Wow. You know who I don't want having the ability to punish me for off-platform activity? Someone who uses forced arbitration. They're already prone to not giving you a fair shake or caring what you think. So that just proves that our Riot Games should be avoided like the plague. But wow.
Well, nothing they do is even interesting to me anyway, so I'm good with that. But
I could care less about League of Legends and its characters.
Yeah, no. The fact that they're able to do this, there's probably eventually going to be a lawsuit for players that have sunk money into their stuff and then get banned.
I don't know, dude. I'm beginning to wonder if there is.
Well, I don't know, dude. We're about to get some new administration. It might be.
But I mean, we keep seeing people do this kind of stuff, and there doesn't seem to be any repercussions. So.
Well, we were in a very friendly period of time for a while toward this kind of practices.
You're right, and there hasn't been over the past since before 2016 when kind of all this started. But the past several months, we've kind of seen a lot of the. How do I put this to where I don't get myself in trouble? A lot of people that kind of dug their heels in to defend certain things are now starting to wake up a little bit.
Well, let's pull it back into gaming. The best crossover point, oddly enough, is pointed out by Matt Hansen and Avowed, is Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a personage, I'm not going to get political, is a personage, though, who exists outside of the gaming circle for people to know of him, who's now commenting on things happening in the gaming circle. Elon Musk's Twitter is looked at by a lot of people who they're casual or not even gamers. So he may be the crossing point to where these kind of practices, like the fact he's been commenting on D&D, and he commented on Avowed. Really, picking a fight with Elon Musk when you're one of these companies is really stupid, because this is a world-known figure, a big celebrity who could get your secret malpractices into the public eye. Just being honest, he is that big. It's why I know, hey, I'm not one to back down. His name's not Mush.
Don't pay attention to what I'm doing over here, dude.
I like screwing with you when you mistype. But literally...
You mistype all the time.
Oh, God,
you want to take control? You want to see how it goes?
I almost voiced the text Bloodaxe, the word buttocks, and for his name. I know. I text the chat, man, and it is terrible. But the key point is that he's a crossing point, right, Bloodaxe? Like, people know him, and he can bring a lot of this into the greater eye. And more importantly, he's got the ear of a rather important politician, which means it can turn into policy if he pushes hard enough. So that's why I look at Obsidian and go, you're starting crap with somebody who genuinely can create repercussions for you. Who could actually go, I think we should do something about this, and it might happen. That's why I'm going you might want to shut up and stay in your little circle and keep it quiet. Being very vocal could result. For example, if they did put a character in there as they implied named Elon Muskrat that's derogatory and had you killing him, might end up with a lawsuit. If there's anybody that might have the money to pursue it. A normal person couldn't, but we're talking about.
That also, I think, falls under parody and stuff. So I don't think that's
Elon's such a public figure, it'd be fair use anyway.
Yeah,
but you can name
true.
him
He is also a public figure to be fair use. But if you want a person that could possibly lean on get the attention of maybe some changes need to happen.
Well, yeah.
Like the ability for them to take your stuff from you on these networks. I think it would be funny if he was the person that stepped in and said, "This isn't really legal."
I don't know if he's part of that one involved in that, but
he's
I didn't
he's a bigger fish to fry right now anyway. So
yeah. Well, anyway, speaking of staying in your wheelhouse. A company that did and is succeeding from it would be the creators of Path of Exile. Path of Exile 2. Now, this game is a free-to-play game that is doing an early release. An early release that they were like, hey, If you want to play it early, support us. Give us like $30 or more, depending on which package you buy. For some cosmetics, and you can play this game early, a free game. You pay for it.
If you want to, you can pay to get into this game early. A situation that you would think would have very poor results.
But Path of Exile 2 had to come out before the release of the game and go, hey, so we didn't expect to have more than 1 million people online at the same time, and we've sold more than 1 million copies already.
These people managed to sell more than 1 million copies of a free game. Wait to get it for free. And people said, nah, I'd rather play right now and I'll pay you.
So a game that cost nothing sold a $30 package-ish.
Or
30
more.
or
A lot
more.
of people bought
Or
bigger
more.
packages.
And they've already made more money than Valguard before it released. And
Yeah.
That's
they've
insane.
already beaten Valguard.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if Valguard sold 1 million copies, but if it did, it probably didn't sell a lot more. They've got way more concurrent players.
That's a $60 game. So even if they sold 500,000 units for early access, they probably still sold more than Valguard.
Especially because Path of Exile had a 99, if you want the big special, we'll send you our underwear package. They had the tiers. But no, that's what had us, because they probably did outsell Valguard because their concurrent is 587,000 players.
You had a $29 package, a $59 package, or a $100 package. And currently their concurrent count has peaked at 578,569.
And their current is only 78,000 less than that.
Yeah.
And it's Sunday evening and people got to go to work tomorrow. It's dropping, but it's still in numbers that are more than
since release, it hasn't dropped below 284,000.
Which is a number that Valguard never saw. So the fact that when we didn't cover it, that they're going, we did well. No, you didn't. You can't beat a free game that's charging to access the not completed version of their game. And they have, at their top, 6 times your players. At their bottom, still 3 times your number of players. Their worst numbers were 3 times the best numbers of Valguard. And yes, I'm going to keep calling that because Bloodaxe really came up with a good one there. I like that. I can't even stop saying it now. But you know how much of a curb stomp that is?
Yeah. Additionally, they've had over 1 million
Twitch viewers.
1.2 million all-time peak people watching it on Twitch. So on top of the over 500,000 people playing, over 1 million have been keeping an eye on it on Twitch.
Estimation of owners? SteamFi is I don't know what PlayChecker's doing, but because that's not even the number of people. That's barely more.
Well, we know they sold at least 1 million copies.
And some people are. SteamFi is estimating 3.6. But yeah, dude. I mean,
And that's just Steam. That's not including consoles.
dude. They almost have more positive reviews than the peak players. It's not quite, but they have like a fourth of the fourth of their review. Their reviews are a fourth of the peak players of Valguard. They almost have more. They have more followers.
I mean, there's 32,000 reviews on this game, 26,000 positive reviews, 6,000
versus
negative.
89,000 peak player. When you get more people commenting on your, wow. So, no, dude, Valguard was a massive failure. I mean, its numbers are terrible for a major franchise. Some of the worst I've seen, period. We one time went through and looked at everything out there, and it was only beating extraordinarily small games, and I do mean extraordinarily small, or literally some of the remakes, because the remakes don't do well, but they also don't cost a lot.
Didn't Valguard just release a character editor or something like that?
Yeah, they give it a free character editor. I don't know why.
The 3 million
That's the worst part of the game, almost.
The 3 million is probably really likely because this was 2 days ago that they said we've just passed 1 million redemption keys.
And sales are still increasing.
Yeah. So 2 days ago, before the game was released, they had already sold over 1 million.
Actually, that's 2 days ago is when this article was written. It
Yeah.
may have been more than 2 days ago he made that comment. Because I actually thought I saw it several days ago. Like, I thought I saw that like Wednesday or something. Him talking about him putting, because that video's been out for a sec. It's been out more than 2 days. Because there's videos of him, the interview of him saying, he put out a literal video going, we may have trouble with you getting in the servers. We have way more people than we expected.
That's a good problem to have.
I mean, dude, we have a theory that the concurrent. Oh, let me say something. We have a theory that the concurrent's only that number because they can't handle more than that. Like me and Wells are going, they probably can't handle the actual number of people trying to play. Because if it's 3-something million, they weren't ready for 1. They're definitely not ready for 3.
No, they're not. But I mean, it goes to show you that if you make a game that's solid on gameplay and experience, people will buy your stuff even when it's a free game. That blows my mind that Dragon Age, which has been around for 15, 20 years now, AAA game can't compete with a free game. That people can just wait another week or two and then play at no cost, but here, take my money.
More people willing to pay for a free game. Yep.
Yeah, I want to play something now that's not woke. So here, take my money.
That is so crazy that you're right. Very good, observation that it's literally more people willing to give money to a game that's free than to buy this nonsense. So Avowed is filled with idiots. The estimations are all over the place, but the most generous estimation of sales for the Veilguard is a vague under 2 million sold since November. And other ones are revising it to be somewhere between 115 to 70,000 copies, which is humiliating. I don't think it's that low, because I just would be shocked if they only sold 115. Because, I mean, normally if you have 89,000 concurrent, you've sold more than double that amount, about double or so, because they're not all going to be on at the same time, dude. You're not going to have everybody playing at the same time. Plus, that's just Steam that had 89,000 concurrent. So 115 seems stupid, but under 2 million, 89,000 on just Steam, and you weren't really out on that many other places. If you consider Steam to be a third of your sales, or even only a fourth, yeah, that's really 1 million would be a stretch, because you would have had to have gotten way more on other consoles than you see. But no, Steam, again, I just said the concurrent. I'm sorry. So if you double 89, and we'll be generous and round it up to 200,000, three platforms, 600,000 copies is probably a reasonable estimate. I'll even say they may have got close to 1 million. Either way, I do believe that this game sold more copies of its free game for money than all of Veilguard for months of being out. And that's
the thing about it is that's people that bought it, but they're not going to subtract the ones that actually got refunds.
Oh, I forgot there was a large refund movement.
Yeah.
I don't think enough to knock it. I doubt it got a third of its games refunded, but I do think it took a bite.
No, but I would be shocked if it broke 1 million.
I don't think so. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it broke 1 million. And dude, these games are in the same genre. Those both were considered ARPGs. So this is a ARPG. It is categorized as an ARPG. Yes, we know it's that top-down version, but it is technically an ARPG, and they can sell their free game better than the other company.
And I mean, the funny thing is, too, is this game is being released beside another successful release, which is Marvel Rivals. I mean, Marvel Rivals, another free-to-play game, but this one you didn't have to pay anything to play it. It was actually fully released.
And it's a hero shooter in one of the most competitive genres in the world. This is freaking Fortnite and what's the other one?
Fortnite, Overwatch.
Overwatch. Fortnite and Overwatch.
Variant, I think, or whatever. Valiant.
There's another one that I'm having trouble remembering that actually I like more. But big names, massive names. And Fortnite's more of Fortnite is kind of a hero shooter, but still it's big.
Well, that's another actually thing that had another peak this week. You got to understand what all this is going against, because Fortnite just released the OG maps. They went back to the original Fortnite, which brought a ton of players. I think they said they had like 1 million people come back to Fortnite. So I mean, these games are doing well because there's no politics really involved with any of them, I believe.
The characters look great. Mm-hmm. In fact, it's been getting slammed by the critics, the game journals, because of how sexy Storm and the female characters are, because they're drawn like their original comic book counterparts. Storm, I have a crush on her all over again. And a bunch of the guys I watched playing the game, they said the same thing. They're like, man, I have a crush on Storm again. Dude, a lot of brothers grew up with a crush on Storm. Like, we loved her. And I don't mean in a weird way. No, I respected her. I wanted to marry her, make an honest woman out of her. Storm was like a lot of comic book nerds, especially black guys, crush. Yeah. And she's crushing again, man. So, like, the characters look amazing. They all look great.
Yeah, I mean, so like I said, while we talk about a lot of failures with a lot of these companies, some of these companies are having success. As much as I hate to give kudos to Epic, Epic proved that they take all the politics out of it, just release the OG stuff, and tons of people are
when
like,
they did the political stuff, it didn't do well.
Yeah, it didn't do well. But they released the OG stuff, which had nothing but just fun and shooting, and bam, people start coming back. You know, Rivals. It's just a fun.
Play a Marvel character.
Play Venom.
Really, Venom. Well, no, they nerfed Venom a bit.
I
do know this. I keep up with everything.
Path of Exile. Pick a character, play the way you want to, basically. Action RPG. Bam. Does great. So we're seeing what does great, and that's, I think, what hurts the most when we see what's failing. You know?
I got to tell Flynn something. Flynn, they say Iron Fist is broken as hell right now in this. So if you want to finally play a decent Iron Fist, he is currently effing up Marvel Rivals. People are saying you're a godless bastard if you play Iron Fist. That's how good he is. So I thought you'd like that. And holy crap, you can actually play an Iron Fist who's competent?
Yeah.
Because, what they normally do.
So, you know, while
we roll it.
So while these games are working for, you know, going where the fans want them to go.
God, it's all Disney. I'm sorry, it's just a number of. We've got a chain of Disney topics, man. They are chain.
You know, the last Marvel game that was fun to play was Ultimate Alliance.
God, we had fun with that. Luke Cage, Sweet Christmas. Yeah. And my boy
I was playing that with one of my sons last week, and he goes, "Oh my God, this is a fun game." I'm like, "Dude, I can tell you how many hours I spent with your Uncle Quinn playing this game."
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh.
Oh dude, Flynn, Tim, and Kyle would jump on there, and I mean Flynn, and dude, it was one of the few times our boy Kitsune was a badass because you know us, we're dumb kids. We didn't really, except for Flynn. Now he plays Storm. But Kitsune had no problem putting on that tight spandex as a woman, and he whipped out Captain Marvel and Storm and Jean Grey.
Spider-Woman?
The three that were monsters, though, were Captain Marvel, Storm, and Jean Grey. And Kitsune didn't mind playing them, and he was carrying us on his back. I mean, you want to see female empowerment, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, one entity, two. Remember the time everybody went down and he beat Pyro by himself, like, because he was immune to fire. We were just like, Storm, you're the queen.
That brings a whole nother can of worms open that I want to get into. But I mean, I will say that's always shocked me that they want to change up X-Men and they worry about the men and X-Men and all that.
Like when you
had some of the baddest ass women, diversity in heroes. I mean, shit.
Best leader of the X-Men, Storm, baby, was the best leader. Whooped Scott's butt when they challenged him for the leadership.
I mean, most popular leader though was Charles Xavier, who was in a wheelchair. Yeah.
Charles Xavier was in a wheelchair. Most popular enemy of the X-Men, Magneto, literally a Holocaust survivor. It doesn't need anymore. It was inclusive. It was the comic for us. Me and Flynn swore by X-Men. It was our comic. So it's just like, we knew these stories. Like, my goodness, they're being oppressed and said they're dangerous when they're just trying to live. Yeah. And the government keeps sending people to arrest and kill them. We grew up in the times when the New York police were going wild. That story was really relevant to us.
I mean, you had the mutants that lived in the sewers because of how they looked, you know.
Yeah, they don't look like everyone else.
Yeah, you know, it was...
They weren't human. They're a minority.
Yeah.
And then we had the literal alternate storylines like the future where they enslaved them all. You're like, a lot of slavery in that age of apocalypse.
So, anyway, let's talk about Disney.
I was trying not to. Even though Marvel is a Disney topic.
Well, we're going to run through these pretty quick. I know we've been going for a little while. But I will say, I mean, we have this is just a reinforcement of why don't go against the fans, man.
No, it's our fault. James Mangold said it's our fault.
Yeah, Indiana Jones director blames fans for failure. Another one of these where he basically just says, "Oh, well, didn't want to see." You know, they come up with these excuses. Didn't want to see an old man, and it's just like, for one, I mean, you sort of screwed the old man over. And that's what we didn't want to see was, you know, somebody that we really enjoyed get screwed over. I mean, you can't say that older action heroes aren't valid when you have 3.5 Expendables movies, which 3 of made money.
That was literally just about these old, like haven't really been anything in a while heroes.
So your argument of failure because you had an older a hero, not a valid excuse.
Well, what it is that I mentioned this about my boy Samuel L. Jackson. Still breaks my heart what they did to him in that Fury. It's the humiliation parade or the humiliation conga where you take this character that's beloved by the problematic fans, and you just humiliate. They did it to freaking Luke Skywalker. Like, this is a trope, and it's failed every time. Where you go, let's humiliate Indiana Jones. Let's humiliate Samuel L. Jackson.
Well, you can't have a fan-loved character that's a white male leave on a good note. Or a male, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe you just can't. You just want to screw over the fans. I don't know. Maybe
I think it's not against the fans because Samuel L. Jackson ain't white, bro.
Yeah, you're right.
But he's popular because he's a bad MF, so they had to emasculate him dramatically. If you've seen that series, they humiliate him. He seems old and weak and pathetic. I've never seen Samuel L. Jackson presented as that. Even when I see him in other movies where he's playing a really old dude, he still was like an old dude you didn't screw with. They punked him. And then they did it to Luke. They literally had him sucking on weird blue milk tits. It was creepy. Like, they just humiliate these characters. That's what they do. Then they did it to Boba Fett. They brought Boba Fett back to humiliate him. They didn't. They chose to do it after they thought that, oh, wait, this might make money. We don't want that.
Yeah.
Because when he originally got brought back, he was what we wanted to see.
You're all right. I called that wrong, though. I did call that wrong. I mean, look at Snow White. You know, you can't keep anything.
They're humiliating, ruining everything. That was a white female character, but now she's whatever Zegler is. And I'm sorry, but her versus Gal Gadot is
that can't be true.
Well, and the poor dwarves, man.
Oh God, they look terrible. Go ahead, Bloodaxe.
Well, I was reading the chat. Flint's talking about Mufasa's the adopted son that takes it from Scar. Is that what they're doing with the Mufasa movie? He's the adopted child's going to take it away.
They come after the black guys too. I'm telling you, they want to.
That is insane.
James Earl Jones is dead. You piece, dude. If that's the story, I'm gonna have an on-camera explosion if I find that out. Oh, you're gonna have to censor me and put me at the end of the show. I'm gonna demonetize the hell out of this channel. I'll wait till the movie comes out and we'll be fair. I want it to come out. But if they're gonna turn Mufasa into a bad guy and crap on one of James Earl Jones' last roles, then I'm going to have to do something I hate to do and pull the racist card on Disney. Because if they do Samuel L. Jackson and James Earl Jones like that, I got to think that they got a problem, man. Because that's weird to go out of your way to ruin the legacy of these actors. That's really specific.
Especially for Scar, who Jeremy Irons is a white guy.
The story follows orphan Mufasa, who is befriended by the young Prince Taka and adopted by Taka's family. The pair become close
Who
brothers.
is Taka's the character that becomes Scar. Mufasa is an appropriator.
Yeah.
Fucking Scar is a poor misdone. Oh my God, they're doing that. The good guy's the villain and the bad guy's not the villain.
Yep.
Let's hear it for hyena rights. Open the lion borders. Let the hyenas in.
Thanks for sharing that, Flynn, because I had no intention of watching it anyway, because The Lion King was perfect to begin with. But doing that's absolutely asinine.
Oh, calm down. I'm not even kidding, man. I really respect James Earl Jones. I'm actually really upset. I don't like this. This is pissing me off.
Disney did well with Deadpool and Wolverine.
It'd be different if he hadn't passed away, but this is really hitting. I mean, I get it. He didn't probably play the voice.
And then they kept Moana to the source material, and they expanded upon the first movie. It's done really well at the box office. But everything else has been trash, man. I mean, and they're just going back to, I guess, status quo with messing up legacy characters and just fucking shit up.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't followed Moana. I've been waiting, but who knows, man? We don't know how they really do Maui in it, though. You know, maybe Maui's a toxic male. He was kind of a toxic male in the first one, even though he's supposed to be this legendary demigod from, like, that... Yeah. I think that culture is mythos, but let's see, Well,
the people I've talked to that have actually seen it said that it was very similar to the first movie, which
that would be amazing. To keep on brand.
And the reviews that I've seen on YouTube for people that I trust their opinions on have all said that there's not a major slap you across the face woke story behind it. But who is doing the voice? So Aaron Pierre is doing the voice of Mufasa.
Well, yes, young Mufasa.
Yeah, I don't know who that guy is.
Dude, the reason this is messed up is I just want to point out that Mufasa is one of the most beloved Disney dads. And even one of if you were to make a list of cartoon dads that are beloved, I firmly believe Mufasa's on it. He's going to make the list. He would easily make the list of cartoon dads that people love. And Disney just doesn't... You never heard the phrase, we can't have nice things? Disney genuinely is that at this point. Just get back onto the Snow White, man. I don't even want to talk about this anymore. Like, that really... It's just sick. It's starting to come off as sick. You can't have a... You know what? Mufasa was, I guess, too positive a male role model. So they got to crap on it and make Scar the good guy because Disney's just twisted all their morals. I mean, they almost get... I don't want to get religious. To say that, man, they're coming off as a really questionable company. Because it seems like they're trying to push a really... Because we're not even done. They're putting stuff into things.
Well, and I'm thinking
it's starting to cross my line.
Maybe we hold off on the last two. They're both rumors. We'll be able to confirm one of them in 2 days.
Yeah, when the third episode comes out.
And then the other one, I mean, we'll hit on them real quick, and we'll get some more information on these as the week goes on. One of the rumors is Disney forcing Quantic Dream to erase white characters from upcoming Star Wars Eclipse video games. We'll probably see another trailer. We'll see if the white dude gets race swapped.
Well, the two white main characters, the white girl and a white lady that's teaching her, are supposed to be amongst the targets, which means if they do another trailer, we'll know. I even said that. I said, well, this is easily confirmable when the next trailer comes out. The next trailer comes out and all the white characters are gone, you'll know they actually did.
And then the next one is apparently Skeleton Crew is putting in two lesbian mothers, introduced in episode 3, which people are claiming as baiting because they put out 2 episodes already where they did not do any kind of sexuality or identity politics. And apparently now this third episode they're going to do this.
Which is when I think
which comes out on the 10th. So we'll
the reason this got brought up was just because most parents now know to watch Disney. And what are they going to do? They're going to watch a couple of episodes. But if the first 2 episodes pass, they're probably not going to be worried about their kid watching the third episode. So it's very well timed to wait to 3 episodes in to suddenly introduce, this into a children's show. Now, it wasn't a big deal to me before, but I'm not going to lie. Again, I'm so rocked by the Mufasa
it's the
thing.
sneakiness of it that gets me, though.
Well, I'm starting to get suspicious, dude.
But
I don't trust this company. I'm really getting, well, as positive roles, you can only, they actually, supposedly the leaker said, the insider claimed that on the game they were told you may not have any positive white characters in the game. They can only be
like
villains.
I said, it's also a rumor, it's a leak, so I don't want to put too much weight on it.
Oh, no. We'll be able to confirm it when the trailer hits.
Yeah.
It's the thing that unless the next trailer doesn't show any of the main characters again, you'll quickly be able to tell, especially because they'd have to literally race swap what they were showing, what we assumed were the main characters, which was the girl who clearly starts going to the dark side.
Yeah.
They would have to literally race swap those characters or just not show them anymore.
Or either change their storyline to make them not good.
Yeah, they could try to turn them into villains.
Yeah.
But they would still need a main character. They would have to switch who the main character was implied to be. So if they switch the main character over to somebody...
I mean, Flynn says in the chat room, with all this fucked up, I'm wondering if someone in Disney is trying to destroy... We've been asking that question for a while.
Dude, Flynn, Flynn, I'm not that guy, but I'm starting to wonder if there's something wrong. And I mean, like, morally wrong. Like, I'm starting to wonder if there's a weird cult or religious group of insane,
I don't know if
people.
I'd go that far, but...
I will. It's getting weird. Okay, I'm just being honest. I'm not exaggerating. It's getting... It's now reaching a point with Disney where I'm getting weirded out.
So, yeah.
This is getting creepy, man.
Q and I have had this discussion offline, and this is...
Well, I'm taking it a lot more serious now. I'm starting to win
something I've been saying for years. And if y'all want to find out about it, join Patreon, and I'll be happy to go and dig in on that.
Well, and the funny thing is, Bloodaxe can tell you, I was like, nah, man, it ain't that bad. It ain't that bad. They're starting to make me look and go.
Yeah. All right, with that, we're going to wrap up, guys, because, I mean, I'm curious how much of this pans out here, but, I mean, we already know some of it to be fact, so that Disney's been doing, and, I mean, it seems like they're continuing down the route, even though we have had also rumors to say that they're, firing people to get out of this stuff, but it doesn't seem to be happening fast enough.
Seem to be occurring.
Well, there's several more years before all this stuff actually gets washed out, but so next week we'll follow up on these two things, and also on the 12th of December, the next Borderlands 4 trailer is coming out, and according to our favorite musician Randy Pitchford, it's going to pick up exactly where it left off, where they were picking up the mask on the comet. So
what does that mean?
Hopefully
we don't have any context for that, though. That didn't mean crap. It's going to pick up from that scene that you don't have any damn idea what was happening. I'm like,
exactly. So, but it's supposed to come out on the 12th, so we'll probably have a review on that as well. I am really curious to see if they're going to pick up on the problems that we echoed with Borderlands 3, and the fact that no matter which character you played, you didn't affect any cutscene whatsoever. And from what I'm reading and what I understand, they have picked up on that. So hopefully we'll be able to have some more dialogue.
But did they pick on it like Avowed and were cheering it in their internal chat? Look, I want to say this. I want to see a damn Vault Hunter. I want to know who I'm playing. Can I see a dang character? That's what I'd like to see.
And I want set characters. I don't want like Wonderlands where you make your own. No, I want like we've had in the first 3 games, to where you have static Vault Hunters of a certain style. And that way, I can pick my soldier, you can pick your robot or whatever. But I don't want to have a character creator.
I disagree with you on that one. I would actually prefer to see, like, as much as I didn't really care for Wonderlands, as far as the character creation, I would prefer to see the Wonderlands character creation.
I had no problem with the class system or the character creation of Wonderlands. It was every other part of that game.
Yeah.
But that was the coolest part.
I mean, the biggest thing that I have memory-wise of Borderlands games are the main characters, whether it be Roland or whether it be my girl Mose or whomever. Because if I have a nameless character that I make, I'm not going to be as invested in that character.
You don't have to necessarily have a nameless character. You can still have a character, but choose classes. Or even if every character can't choose the same classes, give a little bit more choice so you can mix it up.
Let's rephrase that. Yeah, I don't mind preset. I think you're right. I'll give you this. Why do they meet in the middle? Preset characters, but you have that customization of
the
your
class.
vault abilities, like not just skill trees, but maybe actually class archetypes.
Yeah.
I like the class archetype system.
And blending classes in Wonderlands was great. But how many discussions have we had when we're going through the cutscenes and you hear Flag saying something that's absolutely appropriate, and then
Well, that's
when
what
we
I'm
play
saying.
through
You
it
can do
again
that.
and
You
we see
have
what
set
Mo says,
characters,
yeah,
but you pick
exactly.
their
So
classes.
I get a deeper experience when I have personality with my character.
Yeah, I get a deeper experience when I have choice.
I enjoy both, but I will say that some of my most immersive experiences, I felt like I was playing my avatar that I created. But I will say that he is right that for dialogue, to get that really catchy dialogue, you preset characters are easier to do that with.
And I'm fine with that on heavier narrative games. You know, I get that. But, I mean, you never had a heavy narrative with Borderlands.
Not in the later, like it got less and less defined.
No, but during the main game, yeah, there was, but of course the game didn't start until you finish, and then that's when you go on a loot run. But I had a better experience when I had a static character with a personality, and which would reward more playthroughs to see how different characters would react to the same storyline.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say, though. It can do both. You already have 3 trees for your hunter, which allows you to customize them. That easily could just be classes like in Wonderlands, but you're still playing. You pick your character. They have their dialogue. They have their backstory. They have the way they talk. But you could choose to be a heavy weapon machine gunner, and I can pick my character and decide I'm freaking a pet mancer or a melee character, and I'm not forced. Because that would be great if I could play the character I associate with the most
have the
personality,
personality,
but have the play style I want. You see what I'm saying? So that's the middle ground. Is let me put any skill tree on any Vault Hunter, but you have 4 Vault Hunters who have their own stories, like you said, and you interact with. But your Mose, if she was a return, he might want to try out Mose, or he might want to play, what's your guy's name?
Zach?
Zach. He might want to play Zach.
Zane.
He might want to play Zach as a flippin' sniper and grab the sniper stuff off of Flag, or pilot your freaking mecha. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't think the abilities flesh out the character enough that you couldn't divorce that a bit so you can play the character you want. Because honestly, I'd love to play a melee Flag. Oh man, I'd love to run around as Flag man, put spikes on them, and just delete suckers with melee. Yeah. I'd love that.
Well, we'll hopefully know more here in a few days, and we'll talk about that next week. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check Dicejunkies.com where you can find links everywhere we're online, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell on our YouTube channel. And as every week,